Alright guys, welcome to our Q&A. If you have any questions, answers, just type them in the YouTube chat. And this week's chart setups, we'll go over some of the charts, sectors. We'll go over the FANG names, we'll go over the semiconductors, we'll go over some of the airlines, see how they're setting up, and any other chart requests that some of you guys may have. So first we'll start with the futures. Qs, this is NASDAQ, and looks fine, open green. But let's see by morning. This is a weekly chart I have, by the way. And let's see by the tomorrow morning if we end up holding green or do we go red, right? They opened up. So if we just go over them right now, they did open green. Man, somebody's car alarm is going off. They did open green, but giving them some gains or filling the gap. Let's see if we can just stay above this 16,590-ish level on the Qs. And then we have ES1. The futures on these also same thing, just from the gap here, open green. Let's see by morning if we can continue holding above 4690 or 4700, right? So futures are green for now. And some charts that we wanted to go over. First, Qs. I know I just went on the futures, but I'll just go with the triple Q that we follow, right, every day. So last Friday we had a nice little gap up, gained, it held throughout the entire day. And I'm going to go over this tomorrow morning, depending on the futures. We might get the dip towards 401, 402. Just keep an eye on this, guys. And then above 400 hold is a must hold. We don't want the 400 break. If the 400 breaks and it stays below 400, that might even put in a little toppy action. And then we're going to wait until it holds above 400. So for now, just above 400 is what we're looking for. On SPY also is making a little, if I was to draw a pattern, is something like this, like an ascending wedge, I believe. Right, right here. And do we break out of this tomorrow morning, right? Do we break out to the upside? So expect a bigger move. Do we break up to the upside, or do we flush a little bit at near this support zone, right? Or do we come in this channel, bounce here, and then come back again, and then we break out, right? So we just need to see. We do have this gap fill. I do believe this gap fill will be filled, which is 440, right? So we're about 30 points away. In the coming weeks, maybe after 3-4 months, I do believe that this gap will be filled. But for now, we're really strong. The market's giving us upside, so we play the upside. When we see toppy action and we see a little downshift, we'll shift. But for now, another thing that I do expect, as you guys know, for the past few weeks, I've been saying it, you know, I do want the S&P to consolidate. I'm more interested in S&P to consolidate, right, in certain levels. And then the Qs to continue maybe breaking out for a few weeks, and we play tech, and then we see what happens after the New Year's, right? Two things that I'm going to teach you guys here. I'm going to give you guys a tip. They're not on it's not on trading view, but if you guys, or you know what, we'll just go here. Stock charts I'll go over, and I wanted to go over this indicator is the McCallum oscillator, right? This is for bless you, NASDAQ. Now this indicator suggests that a lot of stocks, if you guys can see this chart right here, that a lot of stocks are oversold territory, which basically means that, I mean, this is going to lift the index higher if it goes positive, right? So we are in the oversold territory, right, on the NASDAQ, even though our tech, some of our names are running. But this, you guys can do some more research and study on this oscillator. I was looking into it. And this suggests that we might have an oversold bounce, right? So which is going to help the indexes go higher along with other names. Right, and so the first chart that we'll go over, obviously the one that we play the most, let's just go over Amazon and get it over with. I know many of you guys play this and you guys are probably keen on understanding what's going to happen. For now, the only thing I can say on Friday, those that protected gains, congrats. Right, now some I do understand, you know, may have got caught in chasing this name, right, which happens. I understand why you've done it. I've been in that boat many times. But that's just sometimes how you learn, right? The market just gives you that pain sometimes. You make all the gains and all of a sudden you end up chasing more, and you believe that the stock's going to continue going higher, which is known as FOMO, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work out, right? And so on Amazon, the only thing I can say right now is we need these numbers taken out already. Until then, you don't need any FOMO, right? I will tell you guys, you can set your alert to, so set your alert at 3760, right? Watch 3765 above 3775, which is all-time highs. That's basically telling us that the buyers are here, that the breakout is real if it touches all-time highs, right? Then here, you may slowly scale in, lock in some profits, and then play with those profits to the upside. If you like to play this safe, I would not go in my full size above 37.75 either, because it can obviously fail. Premiums will be jacked. But what you could do is slowly scale in, and once you have profits, right, you can put those profits towards work. So you pretend like your profits is your initial position, right, and then you put those towards work, and that's how you play for safety reasons, right? And so that's one tip I can give you guys on Amazon. Set your alerts at 37.60, watch 37.65, above 37.75, because it'll be a fast move. If it does happen, then we likely have a lot more upside. Then we have 3,800 through 3,800. We likely see 4,000, which is a 200-point move. Now, it might not happen in one day. It might not even happen in a week. Maybe it goes up 50 points, gives up games, retest. Then it goes up another 75, goes 100, comes down 50. So it might be a bumpy road, or it might be straight up. That I don't know, right? So that all comes down to managing. All right, Amazon's first, and then we have Google. Same thing, breaking out, touched all-time highs the other day. It touched all-time highs, but it gave up the gains that day, which is suggesting a lot of resistance here, right? It's pointing to a lot of resistance above this 2970. So the high that day was 3,019. So 3,000 clearly is very hard on Google. So the level 3,000 is very hard hold. However, if we hold, I'm just making these notes on the charts for you guys as I'm going over this. If we hold 3,000, we likely see towards 3,100 and so on. All right. So that's what's there for Google. But again, 3,000 is very hard. If you're trying to play at these levels, then you just got to be very bullish on tech and hope it goes to the upside. Here, for me, even though, see, on a chart, if I zoom out, is nothing but an uptrend. Like, don't let these candles mislead you. The stock is very strong. I do see upside in the coming days and weeks, okay? But at the same time, I do understand that 3,000 is a very hard hold. So expect some downside towards 2,900. And if it fails, see this candle right here where it protected, if it fails a low of this, the low here was 2890. If Google fails 2890 and comes down, then expect all the way towards 2700, which is very possible, and nothing wrong with it. The chart has just been on an absolute tear and keeps running. All right. So Google either 3,000 hold in this chop zone is going to be very hard to play. Some of you guys in the group on Friday, I know bought Google long. I do like it long, but do expect downside, because 3,000 psychological above is a very hard hold, and we need strength in the sector. All right. And then we have any questions, guys, just type them in. I'll go over them after I finish my charts. Right. Facebook, with the Meta news and everything that happened, we had this huge dip back in from September, October. It was a dip from 380 plus all the way to 310. We did catch this move for a trade. Some of you guys were with me, and we exited. I took my profits. And now here on Google, right, the first thing right off the back I see is an inverse head and shoulder. I don't know if you guys can point it, but I see an inverse head and shoulder type pattern, right? And if we can continue holding this level right here, and the chart is doing absolutely fine, I think if we just hold above this range right here, it's gonna drive. If we hold above this range right here, all right, and this range, sometimes as soon as Facebook got to this level, all you had to do was just look at this levels right here between July action. There was a lot of zigzag here in this range. So expect the same thing here, where the buyers and suppliers selling supply and demand, right? You guys all studied this in school in this zone. And now what we want to see is Facebook take over the highs of this candle, which is 350, 360, right? And if it can get above 360, our next zone that you can play is all the way right here, from this to right here. All right, a little turbulence on the way. But here we are above the 50-day MA, and maybe sometimes on technical patterns, something like this happens. Great, we have it here, that they bring the moving averages close to each other, and then just before they're about to hit each other, they reverse them. All right, so the same thing can happen on Facebook. The 50 and 200-day can come here, it can consolidate here for a bit, and then if they reverse, if the 50-day starts reversing, the price keeps holding up, we likely see more upside. All right, and in order to play Facebook to the upside, is very simple, over Friday's high. All right, and this week, do remember that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were open all day. Thursday we're closed for Thanksgiving, and then Friday is a half day. Just know this. And if you're playing anything like this, just make sure you buy time. All right. And wherever you see there's a lot of zigzag or the price changes too many hands, you always want to buy time. You always want to go long. All right. And if Facebook fails to hold above 340, then we have all the way towards 327. All right. There are some small gaps here. There's a possibility they can fill it. So they might even bring this all the way towards 200-day moving day average. poke below, come back right up to fill this gap, and then go up again. All right, so just know all these things, expect them, right? Every scenario that you can draw in your head, try drawing them, just so you understand downside, and you can, based on that, your position sizing can be correct. All right, and then we have Apple, absolute monster, amazing news the other day, obviously EV, right? And here it's just in a very nice higher high, higher low channel. We broke all-time highs. We're near all-time highs. Apple actually held very well on Friday. It closed near all-time highs, right? And I mean, like, I held all the gains. Now the only number that matters here to me, there could be a retest of 157, right? I'll write that down here. A possible retest of 157, maybe this week, maybe in after 1 week, or maybe after 3-4 weeks after it runs, it might retest 157. It's very likely, and we need to hold above 160. And I think if we continue holding above 160, we likely see 170, 180 in the coming weeks, right? And so we do have our tech earnings. They'll start in Feb, I believe, right? End of January. And but for now, Apple very bullish, very strong, and likely to continue higher. But we did run all the way straight from 147 to 160, 13-point move. Do we retest 157 and then take out 160? So if something like this happens on Amazon, on Apple, I'm just this is a scenario in my head. We retest 157, maybe it goes to 164, 163 first. I don't know. But if it comes back to retest 157 any of these days or next week, and then it takes a 160 again, we likely see more upside. Okay, just know this one scenario in mind, and that's something that I personally will be looking for. A retest of 157 and then breaking out. What do I mean by retest? Let's go over IWM, right? So let's go over IWM. As soon as it broke out the first day, the first thing I said pre-market that day, that IWM, I will wait for a retest. It was a very strong breakout out of a huge base of many months since the start of the year. Finally broke out, and it was likely that it was going to retest, and that's exactly what it's doing right now. It's retesting. Now, I also want to buy IWM long. I know some of you guys are in long. Congrats. I hope you guys bank it. But me personally, I'm just waiting for maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. As soon as I see some reversal signs, it takes out 235 to the upside, right around 235, 236. Because I believe it is okay to buy options at a higher price with more confirmation. So IWM, if it makes a little reversal candle here, it takes 235 to the upside. I will add or scale into my position in IWM maybe a few months out. All right, I do believe our Russell 2000, or the small caps as we call it, they are, I think it's time for them to run a little bit. And so let's see, because those are the stocks which are mainly sold out, oversold on this oscillator. All right, so very good tip I want to give you. So most of the stuff that's sold out, oversold, it's the Russell stocks. All right, small caps. Okay, so look into this. And so let's see. So that's what I mean by retest. So similar. So we were at Apple. We get a retest of 157. I think we can probably play this to the upside. Microsoft, one of the best performance for the last 3-4 years. There's no doubt with the run it's had, right, from mega caps. But I do believe Microsoft is due for some sort of pullback. All right, maybe the other tech might run, just like Microsoft ran when other tech wasn't doing nothing. Microsoft can now maybe take a rest, or maybe it keeps going because they're just too strong. Right? I may be completely wrong, but above 340, we do see some selling pressure, and a retest on Microsoft around 310 will be lovely, right? Retest of 310 will be great. This can happen this week, next week, after 2 months, after 6 months, or if we continue holding above, 340, I mean, there's a lot more upside than it keeps going. But me personally, I will not play to the upside or downside here. I do want more confirmation here. Or maybe what I could do is, if I see some choppy action here, that this is a toppy action, maybe I'll sell some bear call spreads, right? Collect some premium, do some bear spreads on Microsoft where you're selling. If you don't know what they are, you're selling this zone or something along the lines, and you're buying this zone for protection. All right, so you sell this for whatever premium, and then you give a little bit back here to protect those gains. If you don't know what bear call spreads are, my stock life, just go through our YouTube channel, and you'll find the video on the session, and you can definitely look into it. All right, so bear call spreads is a strategy that I see on Microsoft, and those of you guys that do spreads, write these things down, right, or come watch it again, because these are the potential plays we're giving you guys way beforehand. Okay, so these are all the plays which we're giving you way beforehand, and just write them down. And then we have so now we'll move on to our semiconductor space. Our chart of the week: Taiwan Semiconductors, TSM, right? We already posted this in a group. I hope you guys are took notes of that. It's ready for a potential breakout. We do have a lot of strength in the semi space. So I'll go on the weekly chart here since I have the weekly comments. A weekly breakout is on the way as long as we can take out 125 and we can hold above it. However, this area right here is also a seller's zone, right? For the last 4 times they tried, they sold it. Can we finally take out 125 based on our strength? If we take out 125, we're likely to hit 130. And once we hit 130, excuse me. And once we hit 130, then we're definitely on to 140 and then all-time highs. Then near 140, we'll see some turbulence maybe, and then we all-time highs. The earnings for this, they're in the 2nd, January 13th, I believe, next year. But TSM, keep an eye on it, is one of the best semi setups. Does it work out? Let's wait and find out. We're already in leaps. Or the swing position, we are up, I think, 80-90% already. So congrats that are in and just manage along the way. And then we have LRCX, Lam Research, already breaking out, right? And this is a weekly chart, by the way. Same thing as TSM, doing something similar that we see a breakout. On LRCX, it's very simple. 640 you hold. We likely see 680 and above 680 or 675. You have more confirmation and we can play this name to the upside. LRCX, I really wanted to play this name. I've kept repeating it for the last 3-4 weeks. I wanted to buy in, but then my focus was on some other stocks, my positions, and based on that, I did not buy. I just had to manage my account as a whole. But this name was also given to you guys over and over again. However, this, as you guys can see here on this chart, we do have some selling pressure above 645 level, right? So if the semis continue holding strength, if it continues to in the top, then LRCX is definitely a candidate to break out. So keep an eye on LRCX, because once it breaks out, it will make a huge move, maybe 100, 200 point move, right? It's very possible. But again, 640 hold. Now you want to wait until 670, 680. If it holds, it goes much above. All right. And another thing I want to go over, just a little while we're doing this, let's do a little teaching session for you guys. Now, when buying options, you guys need to understand. Sometimes now LRCX options are expensive, I know. When we buy options, I'm going to do a detailed session on this, but I'll just go over it very fast. Let's say in the money option, so let's say 645 on LRCX is costing you, just an example, $10 per option, all right? And then 660 on maybe costing you, let's say $4, all right? Now here you need to understand one thing. Some people ask me in the group that how do you pick your option strike price, right? How do you know what to buy? If I buy in the money $10 options, I am more likely to save this money. If let's say if LRCX doesn't do anything and by the end of expiry it only makes a 10-point move, let's say LRCX goes to 655, here at least I might not make profits if it does not move on the same day, but by expiry if I'm here, you know, I keep my intrinsic value. I keep my intrinsic value, right? Or let's say it only closes above $7. It closes above $7. It closes at 652. At least I get to keep $7, so I only give away $3. But when you buy a $664 call, and if LRCX does not move, your risk here is more, right? Your risk here is a little bit more, right? So you end up, this $4 goes to 0, okay? And 680, you're buying a much cheaper option, your risk is much more. This likely goes to 0 before any of these, obviously. Another thing here is, let's say the rewards now is LRCX closes below 660 or anything, you know, you make profits on that 10, you hold the value. Let's say LRCX goes to by expiry 690, just an example. This call will be worth minimum $30. Okay, this 660 call will be worth $30, while your 645 will only be worth another $45. The rate of return or the percentage of return on 660 is much higher. Okay, but the percentage return on 645 is much less. Percentage on 680, it's $10. Right, this will be worth 10, and on this it's actually even higher than this on the 660. All right, 4 to 30 is almost 750% return. 680 is almost $900% return. This is a 350% return. So when you buy options further out, if the stock moves in that direction and you're right and it moves by a big price, your rewards are higher, but your risk is also high because there's a greater chance those options go to 0. And if you buy option price, so it all depends on your portfolio, how much risk you're able to tolerate, right? If you cannot tolerate risk and you don't have enough money to buy a $10 contract, move on. Why do you have to buy? Just sit on your hands, wait for a stock like maybe Micron, right? Overnight went to 600% in the same day. Contracts were bought at 78 cents, I believe, and they went up to what, $5 on the next day, all right, last week. So sit on your hands, wait for a play which is suitable for your account. You don't have to play Amazon. You don't have to play these big name spreads. Wait for the right play. Maybe it takes a week before you get before you find a play for your suitable play, right? And then you also want to look at the play. Do you agree with it? Okay, so I hope this was helpful to you guys. And if it did not make sense, don't worry. I'm gonna go over in details. I'll do a special session for this. Or you can just watch this over and over and try to understand what I'm trying to say. Oh, here, Micron is next on my list. Anyways, a nice little weekly breakout, right? Congrats, Boogie. He caught this one. Amazing move. Blessed many. Turkey, I know you held this one for a little longer. You nailed it almost for 600%, I believe, or was it more? Micron, a very strong breakout on the weekly, right? The move already happened, to be honest. The only question now is, does it hold? And the move was very strong on Friday, okay? Does it take out this zone, right? Does it take, because there are sellers on Micron above 83, okay? So right here, above 83, there are sellers on Micron. However, if it holds 83, we have 86 next, and then we have 90 plus. All right, as long as we continue holding above Friday's high. If we fail, we might retest the 50-day MA. Another play that I can give you guys on Micron that might happen. I might be wrong, but this might happen. Retest 78 level, or maybe 80 level, and then take out 83. Likely to see 85 and so on. If we get a retest of 78, great. If we don't, if we get a retest of 80 level and then we take out 83, we're likely to move up higher. On the daily, it might give you guys a little flag. Okay, all right. And I'll just go to the daily chart just to show you guys what I mean. So a nice little powerful breakout. Maybe it does not retest based on the chart, or maybe it does. We do have a gap fill which is left below the 200 DMA, right? 76. 50 and 200 are gonna cross, which is called the golden cross. Golden cross is usually noted as bullish. Why is it bullish? Let me explain why. 50 crossing over 200, fine. So golden is, but what exactly does it mean? What does it, knowing the meaning of it? Basically, the last 50 days, the moving average of the last 50 days is much stronger given the last 200-day moving, 200 days. So the recent 50 days, that means the trend is strong, is taking over the previous 200 combined. So that's what the golden cross basically is, when the 50 takes over the 200 DMA. All right. So keep an eye on Micron. I think it's a great stock. It's a great breakout which can be played, and only if you catch at the right time. So let's see. The first move already happened. Now wait for the next one. QCOM, absolute monster, right? Absolute monster. We had the investor day. We had the news. We wanted to play this name as well. We were looking at it. Some of you guys did play in the group, I believe, right? I made a lot of money on it. We had a swing play on QCOM called back in July, I believe, July or August. I bought the 140 calls for next year on QCOM, which I think sold near break even at that time, just trying to manage my account. But now they're worth up a lot, obviously. It was something I should have held, I think, but that's fine. Nice little flag breakup, but now here 185, 190 is hard. But given the move on this, one thing is likely possible on QCOM, which is a pull towards 200. It's psychological levels, all right? A pull towards 200 is possible, and then near 200 we see how it reacts. But for the short term, if it continues going, if the semiconductors are strong, we see 200, or we likely come retest 178.90, the low of this candle, which is November 17th, the low of 178.63. If we hold above 178.63, we continue holding, we go higher. If we break a low of this candle, then expect some volatility to come retest this zone, at least right here. Then expect it to come retest this right here, which is very possible, which is just below 170, near 169, 170. Okay. And then we have NVDA. Also just an absolute monster breakout. Congrats to those that played the other day, and I think a great breakout in process. NVIDIA looks really bullish. It closed near all-time highs on Friday. Do we continue getting volume on this, right? If it continues the running, and if you believe it's running, the spreads are high, you can do a vertical call spread. I mentioned it here as well. You may do a vertical call spread, right? Where you buy a near the money call, and you set a further out call and you buy the spread. As long as it trades in that direction or goes above your in the money price strike, you either get in profits or break even by expiry, or you nail the max profits, right? Now vertical spreads, they limit your potential for an upside, right? If NVIDIA runs 100 tomorrow, you might not cash that 1000% play, but at least you're safe. So spreads, I know they sometimes take away the potential of a runner, but you know what? I read something great today. Not today, I guess it's actually old. Many of you guys have also heard it, right? Instead of 1000% winners, or that, is better to have consistent 10%, 20%, or even 50, 60% winners, right? Which build your portfolios consistently and more strong, right? And you have less stress, less headache, and whatnot. Okay. So vertical call spreads is something that you want to look on names which have extended a lot, but you believe there's more upside. AMAT, again, breakout is simply retesting the breakout. Watch this name if it gets to 146. Okay, if it gets to 146, so here this comment was made the last time we covered AMAT around this area right here. 145 is a must hold. Above 145 we see 160, and we did see close to 160 on this. So let me just take this out as an old comment, right? And but here a retest of 146 is possible. Okay, I'll write that down here as a note. Retest of 146 is possible. When I say 146, I could be off by $1 or something, right? And 146, 147, or 148, it doesn't matter, right? Possible. And then if we take out 150 again, we might see a nice little run. What do I mean? So let's turn this into a line chart, because candles will mislead you sometimes. Sometimes it's just good to look at the line chart. We broke out of this base, simply retesting here, and we might continue going up from here. So sometimes from candles, switch to a line chart. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot more clarity, because candles will misguide you with all these doji candles, grape candles, whatever, God knows candle. It will mislead you sometimes, okay? So sometimes it's just good to look at the levels and the price action overall, and that's it, all right? ASML, again, same thing, is trying to break out here from a line chart. Let's look at the candles, what the candles are saying, right? Okay, so I do have my numbers here, 850, 870, I think. So if we, okay, so if we go 850, so this is from before, and I told you guys to play spreads on this possibly. ASML, near all-time highs, is very simple. If we take out the Thursday highs, I think, for this, which is 881. So 880-ish, if we take out that hold, we'd likely see more upside on this name. I mean, this is a very strong name, right? And known as a powerhouse of the semiconductors. If we take out I'll give you a number here. I would just set an alert of 890. 890 takeout, we see 900, and then possibly all the way towards 950 to 1,000, and it'll be very fast, right? A very strong company. So 890, I would just set as an alert and play to the upside, and I'll probably play this via spreads as well. Or 50 DMA, if it retests, just see how it reacts, and then it takes out 890. It's a patient trade. You gotta wait till 890 though. Maybe we go all the way towards 700. Right, and if it gets to 700, which is near the 200 DMA, I would play the bounce here. But here it's going to be a little tough. All right, so 890 I will wait for. Cannabis space, so I'll just cover some stocks in cannabis. Well, not a lot, but Tilray and ACB. We had the news. So we had the news on Tilray, right? That the federal news, whatever was going on, and a nice little breakout. I took some profits. I'm still holding majority of my position. We have till June. Still looks fine, and let's see how it reacts. We came below the 50-day MA. Right, 50 DMA, and then I just drew this trend line. I mean, as a potential bounce zone, right? I mean, I don't want to go on this trend line alone, but it's a potential bounce zone. We need through 12. We got through 12, but 14 and hold never happened. In fact, 14 never happened. The highest we got was 1395. So that's why I play levels. They're more confirmation. So we need, once again, we need through 12, and then we need a 14 plus hold. And if we get that, this name is likely going to hit 16 and 20 very fast, right? So strong base above 10, just keep an eye on this name. You don't have to play right now. Put your alerts on maybe at 12. And once it's through 12, then you want to keep an eye on, does it get through 14, all right? And then my target zone's all the way right here above 16. Maybe it happens in end of November, maybe December, maybe Jan. But you know what, for small accounts, plays like this are great. The calls we bought were $2.23. They hit, I think, $4 almost for June. I'm still holding them. Now they're near my break even, I believe. But yeah, for small accounts, Tailor is a name that you should have on your radar. Through 12, you set your alert and you wait patiently until it gets there. Why? Because it can still see all the way towards 7, 8. That's possible. So that's why you set your alerts above 12. ACB, Aurora Cannabis, same thing, broke out, currently retesting. At the 50-day MA, this same thing, it needs above 8 and through 9, basically. All right, so ACB, it needs 8 and through 9 and hold. And we likely see 11, 12 and what's wrong. All right, so same spirit, I think these stocks move the same pretty much, right? So just 8 and through 9, and I think we can see a lot higher. And guys, you guys can start typing in your questions, comments in the chat. I will be coming to you very soon. Roku, at the support level, somebody mentioned this. I'm just gonna go over. I think someone plays this name a lot in our group, so I'm going over for him here. Roku, we are at a very critical support zone. This zone is a must hold. 270 we failed, right? I have this written here. 270 we failed. Do we hold this zone right here? Do we hold, right? This zone is a must hold, then maybe we see reversal. I would not buy it here because this can still flush a lot more. Who knows? When a stock goes from 200 all the way towards 480, it comes back to 270, goes back to 480, and it comes back to 230. This is a nightmare, man. This is nothing but stress, okay? Playing stocks like this. So anything is possible. This can even go to 100 from here, or this can go back to 500. All right, so here just play level to level, see how it holds this area, then you want to play a potential bounce towards 270. Just trade it for that $10-15 move, and then you're out. Okay, so wait until it forms a reversal in this zone, and then the first target will be 260 and 270. And then I have Boeing. Nice breakout, but unable to take out the highs. It was unable to hold above the levels. It was unable to hold 230. Okay, on Boeing, it was unable to hold 230. It went over the 200 DMA. We had great news. They're getting all these contracts and whatnot. All these things are happening. Broke out the one day, but the other days it was just unable to break out. Maybe the COVID lockdown news came, whatever it was. But me, I'm looking at this a little differently. Maybe someone else is also. I just see they filled this entire gap which was left from here, and they filled all these gaps. And now if Boeing takes out this level right here, which is 225, earlier my number was 232, but now I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that to 225. If Boeing takes out 225, your first trade is to 230, okay? And then you wanna wait until 232. If it takes out 232, we likely see 240, 250, and so on, all right? Until then, now I'm not gonna test this name until 225. So you wanna wait patiently, does it get there? Or maybe we come and retest this entire support at 205. And if it fails 205, then the downside is to 190 from what I remember. Then the downside is all the way right here. Know your downside always, it will save you guys a lot of money, trust me. And then the downside is all the way to here. Is it possible? Hell yeah. I think this happens before this happens, to be honest. So let's see. Airlines, I'll go over two tickers, UL and AL. Support, we need some more news from the airline industry, whatever it may be, right? To me, it's unclear because a lot of us COVID shutdown news and whatnot is coming. But each time I've been to the airport this year, I think I've been 3-4 times, everything was sold out. I saw a lot of people at the airport, right? And some of you guys that fly, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, international travel also matters. We are just stuck in this chop zone right here in this area, and I will just simply avoid. This area to play is very hard. I mean, how do you play this area? Look at this. Look how long, how many days, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. How do you predict what's gonna happen here? So why even try predicting your technical pattern? Why follow any candle? Like here, it can just go green, red, green, like anything can happen with this stock in this zone. I would not even touch it. For me to play, you see this level right here, when they poked this name above the base in on November 8th, I simply will put the alert here, a break of this box, and I wanna see, does it hold here? What do I mean by hold? Something like this. It broke out, and then it was a freaking 2 to 3 week time hold. Now, I personally would have bought here, like let's be honest, with scenarios, what would have happened? Where would have I bought in that box zone? Personally, I would have bought this name on this candle right here, to be honest, if I was to play to the upside. But me, as you guys know that follow my stock life or Ricky, I am always saying one thing, I would always buy time on my options. Even though this stock would have made this huge red move, but because I always buy time, I still would have exited green right here, okay? So I would have had this little downshift here, Maybe I would have cut down. I don't know, but I would have probably helped because I do hold my options. I do believe in downside, like I always say, and I will only go in with the size that I can afford to lose most of the times. Okay, and so that's exactly what I mean here. If we do break out, we take out this box. You want to see, does it hold? And in case if it breaks out and it runs without you, then you miss the trade. Simple. Then I just let the trade go without me. I don't chase it, right? I don't chase it. I always watch for the holds, strength to build, and then an explosive move to the upside. All right. Downside, obviously, we have it here. It can definitely see all the way towards 39, and then the support $43. All right. American Airlines, similar action, so I won't spend too much time on it. Right, it's the same thing. So you guys can just refer to UAL, reverse on YouTube, rewind, and just see it. Support level, likely a bounce zone. Does it bounce? You want to see if it holds here, and then probably towards 50 DMA and 200 DMA. And if we break this, then we have downside all the way towards 18, and so on towards the 17, 16, 50 area. Okay, so the technical is the same as UAL almost. CCL, cruise lines, similar pattern as airlines. If we zoom out, it's a similar pattern as airlines also, right? If more people fly, then more people will go on cruises also. It's very simple. But this is a very strong pattern also. You guys can apply this to the airlines as well. Usually when the stock dips like this, there's usually a strong bounce. All right, there's usually a strong bounce. All right, or you can draw, like, it doesn't matter how you try it, the wedge. If we can take out the high of Friday, you guys might be able to catch, and even you guys catch, you might be able to catch like this 0.50 to $1 move as a trade, which is great for options priced for CCL. So even if you get a 50 cent to $1 move and you're right, those options can double. All right. So here, if you do for a small account, if you're looking to play, I would watch here. I would buy here some maybe 3 to 4 weeks out on an option, $2 out of the money possibly, and see how much they're going for. Look at the delta, and on a $1 move, they should give you at least 50%, 70% profits if it works out. And if it doesn't, you simply you can stop out also. All right. So look for a bounce on CCL, RCL, and the airlines. It's possible they give you a $1, $2 bounce before they go further down, if they go further down. Okay. RCL, I believe, will be the same thing. You guys can see how the entire sector is the same, right? Maybe one day they might disconnect, but usually overall, I mean, the scenario is the same. Okay, so same pattern here. The only thing about RCL is it's making higher highs, okay, or higher lows. It's making higher lows. All right. Where's the other stock? Now, does it hold the last support? That's what we want to see. Okay. If it does, then we have a 250, and we can go right through it. Okay. Now let's look at the chat. What do we have here? RS, Sunday, I did not expect to see y'all. I wish Ben sounded like you had marble. It's so hard to follow up. Speak up, speak clearly. Well, RS, sorry. I'll try. I'll try to speak up clear, and I'll try to speak clear next time. Sorry. Okay. And Papa Ganesh, you understand me? Thank you. TSM went over. Thank you, Bucky from MU. Ricky. Okay. Mohammed, yes, I remember you asking me this. That does it make sense to take leaps in your IRA account? I have cash sitting in there and thought maybe leaps would make sense. Now, you have to understand one thing. Yes, you can take leaps in IRA account, but it also comes down to risk management, obviously, and how much money you put into it. Let's say, for example, somebody that bought BABA in their IRA account. Let's say you have 10K cash sitting in BABA, just an example. So let's go back to 2021, right? You go back to 2021, you think, you know what, BABA bounced nicely. It's made a nice little inverse head and shoulders. It's holding well here. Let me buy some 2023 leaps. And the only question here, how much are you willing to put? Because any leap can also go to zero. At the end of the day, any option, one day it's either going to go to zero or to its intrinsic value that it holds. Okay, eventually it's going to come to that end on the expiry. Now, people that with a similar thinking, if I have 10K cash, how much do I really want to put into my IRA? On IRA, you want to diversify your portfolio. You want to diversify. Your position sizing is key. Okay, so let's say if I have 10K cash, the maximum I will put, let's say if I was to put BABA money in BABA leaps here, the maximum I would put is $500. Let's say 10K I've sold it for leaps. Out of that 10K, maybe I'll put $500 for leaps because leaps are expensive, right? I'm not going to say I'm only going to put in $100. That makes no sense. I mean, BABA's not that type of stock. Maybe I'll buy 2 contracts at $250 or just 1 contract at $5, like very far out. Something that may hold value. Let's say Baba does not work out. Now today this leap is probably worth 20 cents, right? Because Baba's down a lot. All this time decay, theta kicked in. Likely a zero unless Baba recovers by the time in 2023, 2024. Maybe Baba passes this, and maybe your leaps will be back to $5 or $3. They'll give you some value. But let's say you do this with four contracts, right? And you're very picky with your leaps. Unless the entire market takes a downturn, something big happens in the market, then yes, you will feel the pain, right? So you always want to have cash sitting in your leap account as well, because sometimes you might have to average down at certain points. Now you do four contracts of four different stocks, each valued at 500. So you still, I'm just giving you an example. I mean, you can always do a little bit more than this, but I'm just giving an example. $500. Now our AMD leaps, they almost went up more than 200%. They were 20, they went to 60. I'm just using the percentage calculator. So your one leap goes up 200%, right? NVDA, it went up like 500, 600%. We bought them at $70. I think they're trading at $400 per contract now. I sold mine early, but I sold mine for a double. So let's say that we sold at 100%. And then we have leaps in Ford leaps. They went up to almost about 400%. They were going over $400, right? So they went, let's say 300%. Now, these are the leaps that just a recent leaps that I took my exits on, right? Baba is a complete loss. So, but let's just say, even if one goes down by 50%, let's go just realistically, you gotta do the math here, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is to increase the account. So 500 may go to 20, which is, I mean, it should, like, right? And then 500, let's say it goes to zero. The other 500 maybe leaves you with only $200 worth of value, so it's in a loss. The third one maybe goes to over 100%, so it gives you $1,000, right? At the end of the day, your leaves are now worth $3,200. Your investment was $2,000, so you're still up more than 50%, right? Now these are just numbers I calculated out of the thin air, right? It's not going to be like this. Maybe all four go to zero. Maybe all four give you 400% each, 500%. Your 2K goes to 10K. Anything is possible, but just a likely scenario, based on my own performance or based on what might likely happen. So leaves, yes, you can. It all comes down to your position sizing, the stocks you're buying, and how much money you're putting in, and how much cash do you have on the side in order to manage or invest more later if you have to, right? So it comes down to all those things. I want to do a session on buying option contracts, what strike price, like just based on my own experience, my understanding, what expiry I would buy, why I would buy it, and why am I going to buy leap on something. So that session I'm likely going to do maybe this week or the week after, one or the other, okay? Because this week I know it's Thanksgiving, so you guys probably want some family time. Let's see, maybe I'll do it on Sunday. I don't know. Okay, maybe I'll do it on Saturday in the daytime somewhere, right? So we'll do a session on this, a proper one. We'll go over that. So Mohammed, I hope that makes sense. Other than that, guys, I think we're in 45 minutes. From Metaverse, leaves on stocks that might benefit from Metaverse. Thank you, Ralph, for asking a great question, and I'll be very transparent. Let me study a little bit more, and I will get back to it. I'm not just gonna go like Facebook. Yes, you can go long based on technicals, but Metaverse to me is still fairly new. Give me some time, but I will definitely answer your question maybe this week or when I cover the next session, right? And apart from that, thank you guys so much for attending, and our new moderators, Cool Guys Ricky, Mamba Mentality, the Super Mom, Yash, and Moonologist Taga. Congrats, guys, on getting to the moderate levels. Thank you for all your help, all you guys do, and I hope the room will definitely take some help from you guys as well. And thank you, guys. We wish you all the best.